Hello, and welcome to the About Healing podcast, a show created for those on or awakening into their spiritual journeys, and who are ready, wanting, and learning how to heal themselves. I am your host, About Healing medium and certified spiritual healer, Cherie Buckman. It is my purpose to guide others to the path of self-healing and to inspire those on their spiritual journeys in finding their truths. Join me as I share my experience and unfiltered perspective in healing, as well as the incredible wisdom of the loving energy that guides us. Let's begin. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another episode of About Healing Podcast. Of course, thank you for joining me. Just wanted to say, hey, if you are enjoying this podcast, I am going to ask and put out there, please share it. Give us some love online or on social or in any outlet you are listening to the podcast by giving us a review or just liking it in some sort, because those numbers count. They help us get noticed. They help other listeners know that it's worth listening to. So please assist us in any way possible if you can and if you feel so drawn. So I want to go ahead and get started into this episode because we've got a long one and this is a beautiful one. And I'm really, of course, just like any other episode, I'm sure I say this at the beginning, I'm excited to talk about. So let's start this by pulling a card from the Sacred Self-Care Oracle deck. Again, this season is about self-care and wellness. So what a great way to start each of our episodes. So this deck is from Goddess Provisions. Jill Pyle, she is the CEO and co-founder of Goddess Provisions, and she wrote the deck. So the card that I pulled for today, for all of us, in its perfect timing, is family. Peaceful relations with your family, whether biological, adopted, or chosen, are incredibly important. Families can offer a sense of unconditional love and be there for you in times of need. You're being called to tune in to the energy of unconditional love. Many of us store unresolved family traumas. As time passes and we evolve our perspective, we can find forgiveness in our hearts. We eventually realize that our families have always done the best they could with the resources, level of emotional development, and knowledge they had at the time. Tap into your divine motherly nature as you practice forgiveness and unconditional love. Look for opportunities to heal any old wounds with family members and find ways to connect with them, whether it's through a phone call, sharing a meal, or planning a visit. If connecting directly is not possible, try finding peace through meditation and by setting the intention to transform any negativity into feelings of love. And the journal prompt for family is: what problem areas, if any, remain unresolved with your family? How do you think resolving any outstanding issues would impact your life?
Have you been enjoying our weekly card readings? Well, then we have a special deal for you. We've partnered with goddessprovisions.com as an affiliate to offer you a discount on all their fabulous products. Receive 10% off your minimum purchase of $25, which can also be applied to your first subscription box. Use code ABOUTHEALING to apply your discount and support the About Healing podcast.
That is beautiful. And what a great reminder. What's interesting is I just had this conversation yesterday with somebody. It was a pretty powerful conversation too. That again, usually as a lot of our traumas come from our childhood and that we parent and make choices with the resources and the knowledge that we have at the time. There's usually a bigger reason behind it, but that is a whole other episode. So we are going to kind of transition now into the topic of this episode. Because what's amazing is that the card also mentioned meditation. And that's what we're going into today. Throughout the life of this podcast, I have mentioned time and time again about the importance of meditation and how it offers an internal balance and peace while expanding one's perspectives. So today, I want to share with you what I understand of meditation and my journey of finding inner peace. I consider this topic to be a perfect fit within our wellness and self care season, as this is a tool one can use to bring balance into the present moment. This is actually a perfect one for this. This is one that was written on my outline, not necessarily in this order, but it was there. This is important because I have been asked this question often, especially when I talk about it or bring it up to somebody who maybe has attempted once or twice or has never done it before. And it's, how do you meditate? I can't seem to shut my brain off. Hmm. Yes. So the last week we talked about finding focus, and you all understand how scattered my brain is. I just talked about it. The thing is that the truth is that there are many ways to technically meditate. Okay. And I have a lot of information I want to cover on this episode. This episode is giving you a lot of information about meditation in general. We're going to go over history. We're going to talk about what it is. I'm going to talk about my journey and some of the stories of meditation with it. And then I'm going to leave space and I'm going to give you an outline of maybe some ways to begin that process for you, some highlights or basic tools. So bear with me as we get through it because I believe all of these pieces that I'm about to share are important. Now, I can expand and probably create a whole episode out of each of these individual spaces I have in here or little mini topics within the topic. But I feel like this is a good general way to get the point across and understanding meditation. So, whether you are a seasoned yogi who meditates every day, or maybe whether you have never heard the term, or maybe just beginning to hear it but have never tried, let's fill in and understand where we are. And maybe I'll give you my perspective of what meditation means. I once went to a retreat with my sister in law where we would meditate each day as a group. It was a group meditation every evening. After one of these meditations, one of the members came up to my sister in law and complimented her on her stillness, right? She was able to meditate during this hour and be completely still. So, number one thing I want to talk about on this. First, my sister in law is amazing as she does master anything that she sets her mind to. So, praise to her. Bravo. Absolutely. And number two is I remember that specific meditation on that day when she got that compliment. I remember for me personally, it was one of my deepest experiences that I had. I was connecting with my guides, my higher self, and taken on a journey through time and space. It was transformative and it was deep and it was very inspiring. I received a lot of information and this expanded perception during this time. Now, was I still, and meaning not movement during that meditation? Nope. The thing is that when I am meditating, I sway with the energy. It's a very subtle movement. It's not big, but I do. When I go through moments and I can feel the shifts, my body kind of sways with the energy a little bit. So I was not actually in a still moment. So now, did my movements make my meditative experience void or less than? Absolutely not. Just like my experience, likewise, did not take away from my sister in law's meditation experience. Because afterwards, I remember thinking, so how can I sit in stillness like that? Just like her, where someone else would notice how still I was to sit in this position for an hour length of time and just hold it. I remember thinking that, but I also remember on this other end of having the conversation with my sister in law and explaining to her what I experienced during it. She also wondered how she could improve her meditative experience to reach such depths. Now, I share this because that's the truth in it, that there's not one way to technically meditate. And while our experiences were different and we have these different styles or we see or feel different things, they were both fantastic and they were both meant for us in the moment. I believe meditation is simply the act of slowing down your mind and body to feel in the moment.
FindMagicPeople.com is a growing expert led community of psychics, healers, and teachers. It's our conversation and a place to connect and discover. Create your free account at FindMagicPeople.com today and start sharing your voice.
So, I want to move into understanding the history. So, now let's go and break meditation down some more. So, meditation is practiced in many religious traditions, playing a major role in J- Jainism, I believe that's how you say it, Buddhism, and Hinduism. So, the earliest written documentation of meditation was mentioned through a Hindu tradition in India around 1500 BCE. However, historians believe it to be more than 3000 BCE, or honestly, since the beginning of mankind, that we have used meditation. It just wasn't put in written documentation, or was it called meditation, quote unquote. So, psychologist Matt J. Rossano proposed that group rituals and meditations around the campfire between 200,000 and 150,000 years ago helped our ancestors develop the working memory essential for human evolution. He argued that fire gazing meditation literally made us human by rewiring our brains in such a way that symbolism became possible, and thereby the development of a language. Now, this is taken from positivepsychology.com. I did a bunch of research on this, so I'm going to cite where necessary. But this one I took out of that. And this is what a beautiful example of hearing these and how meditation is used in like different cultures and the history of it and the psychology behind it, because that's what I'm about to share with you. I am bringing in traditional, and we're talking about these ancient ways of using it. So, while there are many ancient ways of using it, and there's a lot of history behind it, I'm not going to go that far back because I want to come back into where we are now, the modern day of meditation, because that's what we're using in this moment. The thing is that you could do tons of research and go back into the cultural history of it. But I'm going to bring our focus back here right now into the present of how we use it now. So, meditation is a type of mind body complementary medicine. Meditation can help you relax deeply and calm your mind. During meditation, you focus on one thing. You get rid of the stream of thoughts that may be crowding your mind and causing stress. This process can lead to better physical and emotional well being. This was taken, what I had just said, from the Mayo Clinic. This is documented. They have a whole article, actually, many articles on meditation. See, modern medicine is recognizing this as a fantastic way of even helping our physical bodies. And I have so much more to say on this. So let's keep going on this journey. Meditation is a practice involving mental and physical techniques to improve brain health and overall well being. This right there, that sentence, came from the Cleveland Clinic. That is from their website in talking about meditation. See, practicing meditation allows one to be more aware of how our minds work and how thoughts are connected to feelings and behavior. Isn't it beautiful? Is that meditation is a key to understanding so much more. It is about going within and focusing on the present moment. It is about letting go of the heaviness. It is about letting those racing thoughts begin to slow down by, you could do it by focusing on your breath, doing the breath work. It is about letting go of the tension and finding a journey or finding answers or finding, again, this bigger perspective to understanding how to let go or understand life or understand the causes of stress, to receive information from bigger and higher sources, of just connecting with your truest self, of letting go of the crazy moving energy that we are consciously on when we're in ego mode. When I say ego mode, again, I don't mean that as bad. I just mean that's our autopilot. When we're living our days as these human beings, it is making sure that our lists are getting done and our work projects, kids, managing kids and behaviors, or meal planning and grocery shopping and all the things. Life can get busy and overwhelming. This is about stopping for a minute. Yes, this is why meditation is hard, because it is slowing down and stopping all of it for a moment, stopping it. So I want to talk about now the types of meditations, because there actually are very many different types. As I started with that little personal experience I told you about the little meditation retreat my sister-in-law and I were on, There are so many different types of meditations that bring to certain focuses. Some styles are very specific and focused, right? Very specific that you're working on one type of thing because maybe it is your breath work. It's really just focusing with your breath and moving with that and just bringing that ease and nothing else. Now, there's a lot more to it. And while the list I'm about to share I am about to share, they're actually very basic terms. Each of these actually have very distinctive names that I'm not bringing up on this episode only because I am trying to save time by offering it in terms that don't require long definitions. I'm just trying to compress it all here for you. So I'm going to give you a quick list. These are 7 of very popular types of meditations. You have mindfulness meditation, spiritual meditation, focused meditation, movement meditation, mantra meditation, transcendental meditation, progressive meditation, and loving kindness meditation. So, this is just a collective of examples. Are these all of them? Absolutely not. There really, I don't believe that there is a limit. This is my own personal belief in that because meditation is limitless. And we all have different ways of doing this. So, I don't want you to ever go into this or not try meditation because you're doing it quote unquote wrong. I don't believe that you can do it wrong. If you are taking the time to slow your mind and body down, that's the key. That's the goal of it. It's just slow down, to breathe and relax for a moment. So, I like to explain my journey into meditation very specifically because I can't speak for anybody else, but I can give you what it was like for me from when I started. Again, this scattered brain disorder that I spoke about in Finding Focus in the last episode, that's not new. It's always been there. And so when I was going through my awakening experience and I was reading a lot of books because that's how I found out about meditation. Yes, I had heard it from time to time, but it never resonated. It never felt, it kind of just felt like that's what monks do. Like you got to be on a temple in the mountain somewhere in Tibet and you live your life in meditation. But it's so far from the truth because we are all capable. As I spoke about it in the history portion of meditation, we have been doing it since mankind existed. Sometimes we don't even know that we are doing it. So I began my journey of meditation from reading out of a book. I had heard this over and over again, all the books that I was reading and trying to understand what I was going through. And I felt very intimidated by even attempting it. Because again, I had this really high, I guess, expectation of what meditation was supposed to look like. Sitting in lotus position, crossing the legs, sitting up straight, holding your fingertips up, making the circle and sitting there straight and not moving and quiet. No, that's not even how I started. I actually do not meditate in that position. Some people do, and that's fantastic. Again, that's another type of meditation people do. You can sit there and you can do this. But honestly, I started by sitting in a chair. That's how I did it. So it wasn't until I read one specific book that gave me a few basic tips in beginning it that I felt comfortable enough to trying. So I'm going to share with you a few of them, along with a few additional tips from my own process to kind of hopefully help you get going or to maybe make you feel like you're not alone and that you can attempt this on your own. So, number one, get rid of your expectations. Stop. You do not have to be a monk. You don't have to sit in any specific position. You don't have to do it for an hour at a time. You don't have to use the ums and the tones. Yes, that is another very specific type of focused meditation. But no, that is not where you need to start, nor will that be on the journey that you go to. So, expectations out the door. Start small with just a goal of just sitting down for 5 minutes and being quiet. That's huge, and that gets you on your way, which brings me into the second one. Start with 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Because in the beginning, 5 minutes is really hard. Set a timer, okay? And I'm going to highly suggest this is kind of like the next tip too. I'm going to highly suggest when you start this, start with sensory deprivation. What I mean by that, and this is how I mean, when I worked up to sensory deprivation, but it really does help. And so I had small children at the time. So I would do this when they would, be taking a nap or they were just really busy with something or my husband was home. So I would go hide in my closet. Yep, in my closet. I would turn off the light. It would be pitch black dark. I would put headphones on and then I would listen to yoga or meditation music. I use Pandora, people. There are so many stations on there. You can use whatever app you need to, CD, or you don't have to do it to music at all. For some people, music is distracting. So you absolutely don't have to use it. So, but for me, it works because I can drown out the outside world with it. So, what I do is I sit in this dark place, I put this on and set a timer and just breathe. Lean against the wall or lay down on the floor if you want, or you can sit in the lotus position if you would like to start that way. That is all a personal choice. I'm just going to suggest while starting this, sit in the most comfortable way possible to keep you to want to be doing this. Just breathe. Just breathe. It's okay if your mind does not go still. That is a practice. Just breathe. The next one again is that focusing on the breath. When you start and you don't know what to do, just breathe. Breathe in deeply. This is how I start my guided meditations. There are so many different methods of focusing on your breath in these breathing methods. Do the research and do what you're drawn to. If you're just looking for somewhere to start, this is my suggestion. I take a deep breath in and fill my lungs completely. It's just one deep breath. Fill it all the way up and then hold it. 1, 2, 3. Release. And then exhale completely. So one thing we do as humans is we hold our breath. We don't ever actually release our breath completely. Especially the busier we are, the more stressed out we are, release it. It releases that old built up energy. So it's just bringing that focus of releasing the energy. So breathing in deeply, holding it, releasing. Okay. The next suggestion for you is do not judge your experience. Stop. Stop, stop, stop. I think this is probably a big reason why people fail. It's usually time. I don't want to sit down. I don't have time for that. Well, truth is we can all make time for something. If it's something that you really wanted to do, if you needed to make time to whatever it is, if it's something you really wanted to do, you'd make time for it. 5 minutes is not a bad deal, and especially with the benefits that come with this. Just dedicate 5 minutes, whether it's when you wake up in the morning or you're on your lunch break or when you get home before bed. This is fantastic. Can really help with sleep and relaxing your body too. Just pick a time, but pick a time that you could be consistent with it. What is a time that you can usually fit it in every day? Try it. Try it every day for a week, 5 minutes. If that's too much, it's okay if you miss a day. Come back. Don't look at that as like, oh, I failed. I didn't get that day. So, oh, this isn't going to work for me. Okay. Do it in the days that you can. It is okay. And you're not getting bad points or absent points for not doing this. It's just the benefit that when you are able to, even if you are doing it randomly, you're going to feel lighter. And it does. And it feels wonderful. So when you have racing thoughts come in, it's okay. It happens to all of us. Until you learn to control your mind, you're going to have thoughts coming in, which goes into my next piece, which is the practice. It is a practice. Thing is, when you have these thoughts coming in and your racing thoughts, like your daily lists, that happens a lot. I'm still finally for a moment, I'm still and I'm quiet. And then I start thinking about all the things I need to work on or those lists that I need to start creating. What's for dinner? Let's do this. Oh, I need to go grocery shopping. We need this, this, and this. Or of course, there's that old memory that's coming back from the past that you forgot about that happened 15 years ago and it's bringing up this old like heavy emotion. It's like, okay, great brain. Thanks. But see it. Say, thank you for showing me this. but we're going to send it away. Imagine like a little, it's a like a cloud and just a puff of air comes and it kind of blows it out of the way. See it, let it go. Because this isn't your time to do the list or to dwell on any of those heavy emotions. This is a moment of just making space, of sitting and breathing. The more you practice, the more you'll be able to expand in the time you can go, the length of time. So I started with 5 minutes and now I'm at 45 minutes. I can do an hour too sometimes, but 45 is usually kind of where I am coming back to. But that's a massive goal. I remember going for 10 minutes or 15 minutes and so excited that I had done that. But I've been doing this for years with intention. Do I do 45-minute meditations every day? Nope. No, I do not. No, I do not. That's a lot to take out of my busy day. However, when I do those, oh, I have very, very deep meditations. I receive information. It is, I mean, it is amazing. But there's also, that doesn't make my meditations deeper or better than anybody else's. It's just my experience. And it didn't start that way. When I started my meditations, actually, my very first meditation I did in front of the kitchen table, sitting there, like facing the window, and I closed my eyes sitting in a chair. And I did. And I just with it, I turned on music and I just sat there and I breathed and closed my eyes. I stopped bringing judgment. And actually, what I started seeing first was for me, it was light. Because, first of all, I wasn't sitting in a dark room. I was sitting in front of a window, a bright window. But what started happening was it started turning into like a kaleidoscope of color, which was very interesting. It was just movement and color, movement and color. And I would keep doing that. And a couple of days later, I started seeing like shadow, not like a scary shadow. That's not what I mean. I just like the outline, let's put it that way, as if someone was standing in front of a light. And I started seeing like a person standing there. It was nothing scary. It was nothing like that because it felt peaceful. I was at peace. And then it just kind of kept going from there. And I just kind of let myself explore is what I did. Whatever came up, I didn't judge it. I didn't question it. I just followed it like a movie. I just explored. Ooh, where does that go? What does this do? What are they going to show me? And before you knew it, man, the type of meditations I have seen, the journeys I've been taken on, I have been taken on different timelines. I have been shown by loved ones or guides taken into like future piece of possible future timelines. It's very interesting. But that's my take. And you know what? Your journey, you may never see those things, and that's okay. I just meant because for some people that might bring anxiety. "Ooh, I don't wanna see people. Oh, I don't wanna do those." That's okay. That absolutely may not be your journey. I have had many conversations with different people about their experiences during meditation, and a lot of them are, I'm just battling my thoughts," or it is, "I am sitting there," and they use different words like, and those the vibrations just to kind of bring and melt the sensations, right? We're bringing our vibration up in our frequency because that's what we're doing when we're meditating. We're adjusting our frequency to higher places, which is amazing. So, again, the more you practice, the more in depth you will get with your experiences. And our experiences are not the same, they won't be the same. A lot of these guided meditations that I have taken people on are examples or taken from my own personal meditations. I've just kind of adjusted them for a focus purpose. But another suggestion I have in this is journal it. Journal your meditation experience. I did. And I found it fascinating because I was able to really pay attention to my growth or journey in meditation in itself. I would write it down and then I could actually go back and see, and I will completely forget about the things I've meditated about. That it was during meditation, about a year later after I started and I started going into my deeper meditations, getting to like the 30-minute mark and whatnot. I was able to start meeting my guides. I was going into meditation with a purpose. I wanted to meet them and I asked them to come forward and I didn't put any specification. And lo and behold, I had many of them and they started coming to me and I would learn a little bit more about them. But that, again, it was a little piece at a time. Don't expect a whole lot. It's okay if you just see black. It is okay if you don't see color. It is okay if you don't see anything. But if you can slow down your mind and just relax, it is a beautiful and great purpose for it. because it really comes down to what meditation means to you. Okay. For me, I use it to relax, I use it to become present, release the heavy, and open myself to a limitless perspective and receiving guidance from high frequency sources. But maybe that's not what that means to you. And maybe that's not part of your journey. That is okay. That's fantastic. What is yours? I'm just asking the question. So I prefer meditating on my own. However, guided meditations are another wonderful way to assist you in focus or for a specific desired journey or outcome. So if you're beginning and you're not sure what to do, or you don't really want to go in the sensory deprivation and just silencing your mind, guided meditations are fantastic for it. You can find guided meditations at a lot of places. There's the Calm app, there's a lot of these other places. On this podcast specifically, I'd like to share, I have guided meditations also. So, but the thing is that when I do, now, as I told you, there's a lot of things that I like to use meditation for, but I meditate in different ways to achieve different things. Sometimes I do my big formal meditations, so those are the 45-minute ones, and that's more of an occasional one. I will do my formal ones. Usually it's a longing. There's like an internal alarm that will go off. It's like, you know what? You need to do one of these because either I need to experience something or it's just that's where I'm at. I've got this big buildup and I need to release, I need to relax, and I need to take this big moment to do so. And by the way, when I do my formal meditation, my 45-minute ones, I actually do it laying in my bed. That's a long time. I don't fall asleep, so that's not a concern for myself. But if you're concerned of falling asleep, maybe not lay down, maybe sit up to keep yourself from there or from falling asleep or sitting in a lotus position, but back support's okay. I needed back support, and for me, I do really well with laying down. But I also have opening meditation. So my opening meditation I use before I see a client because I'm not always on. Again, as someone, I'm a medium and I tap into people, and as an intuitive, I am not doing that all the time. I have to turn it down. I live a normal life too. And so I take this time. That's how I raise my frequency and turn on. So I have an opening meditation that I do. I also love movement meditations. Hiking and running are so meditative to me. It is huge stress relief and it brings so much focus. I'm so much sharper on certain subjects when I do my hiking or my movement ones. So, and a lot of people will use movement meditation, even like washing dishes or doing mundane things like painting. If you're painting walls or painting your house, this is a great one too because again, you're just doing a simple movement over and over again. But if you can get in that and just really just release and let things go while you're doing it, it's fantastic. Don't do it while driving. I just meant during things that doesn't you don't need a lot of brain power for. And I use it in stressful situations. So I this is interesting story. So I once meditated to bring myself into a calm state during an MRI scan. I had to get one, and now, I'm not necessarily, uh, I guess, afraid of small spaces, but there's something about an MRI machine. Ho, ho, ho. And that tiny little tube, and you can't move, and it's just that really loud noise. It's stressful, at least for me. And I know for most people it is too. It's something that is very, very stressful. I went into this and I'm like, you know what? This is just going to give me a moment to practice my meditation. And that's what I did. The moment I went in and I would listen to the big noise that would happen and I would find it as a great distraction, right? I would just kind of focus on it and I would allow it to bring me into a meditative state. I just did my deep breathing and it would just calmed me down. And I stayed in that because I was in there for a long time. These MRIs are not quick. I don't remember exactly how long, but it felt like a good 20 minutes or more I was in there. But it was great. I was by myself and it just allowed me to really concentrate and I guess allow myself to go into a meditative state. When it was done, when the test was complete, the technician pulled me out and I remember him. This is very specific. I remember him telling me how complimenting me and how calm I was. I mean, it was just the way that he said it as if he hadn't seen it before, like, he was a little stunned and perplexed, and offered like this compliment because I remember this conversation. I don't remember it word for word, but I remember the conversation. And he was just like, it this brings a lot of anxiety. Even calm people are showing like that their heart rates are off the charts on it. He goes, but you were really calm. Like the fact that I didn't move and they had very clear scans. I didn't have to redo anything. I was kind of in and out. But this stuck with me for a while. And I remember, I told him, I was like, because I meditated. And I think he was just kind of taken back and kind of shocked by it. Like he was registering what that meant or what that was meaning. But I did. How amazing and powerful is that? That I didn't have to spend any extra time in there and that he pulled me out not knowing that and giving me the compliments. Like, wow, that's how powerful it is. Even though I probably already felt a little bit stressed, it was way lower than what it would have been. But I just real quick want to go over again I don't want to forget about the emotional and physical benefits of meditation that it can include. By the way, this list actually came from the Mayo Clinic website. Aha, fantastic. So, it can benefit by offering a larger perspective at things that cause stress. It helps build skills in managing stress. It helps in creating more self awareness, focusing on the present, reducing negative feelings, helps you to be more creative, helps you to be more patient, lowering your resting heart rate, lowering resting blood pressure, and helping you sleep better. Meditation also might help if you have a medical condition. Some research suggests that meditation may help people manage symptoms of conditions such as anxiety, asthma, cancer, chronic pain, depression, heart disease, high blood pressure, irritable bowel syndrome, sleep problems, and tension headaches. Again, that list also came off the Mayo Clinic website. Research is suggesting how powerful meditation is and how helpful it is. Again, it is a personal choice on how you use it to benefit you. You don't have to go into it expecting to see people. You don't have to go into it expecting pure silence and no thoughts at all. There are so many ways to go about this. Stop judging it. Find a practice that works for you for a reason you are seeking. It's okay if we are all over the place. Don't judge it. See the thought, say hello, and let it go. Take the time to find the inner peace. That inner peace, like I had mentioned before, and how I find it, it's not a constant. But when I'm in meditation, I do. I can find that inner peace and I get to sit in it, even if it's for a temporary moment. Within this podcast, we have created special series that bundle a collective of episodes in one place for easy listening. So currently available, we have two of them, and one of them is the guided meditation series. It's all the meditation shared on this podcast in one place. And we also have the chakra series, which includes the chakra episodes from season 3, as well as the chakra meditations that go with them. We are also creating so many more. Be patient, it takes time. But there's some other ones coming, like the Self Love series and the Real Magic series. But you can only find these on our Podcastics website. It's podcastics.com/podcast/about healing podcast. Yes, I don't expect you to get that. It will be in the show notes. You can see it in the explanation portion of the show. Happy meditating. And until next time, beautiful souls, be kind to yourselves. With so much love and gratitude, I want to thank you for listening to this week's episode. My hope today is that the message continues to guide you along your path to healing. To learn more about me and my purposeful work, visit my website at abouthealingmedium.com. You can also follow About Healing Medium on Facebook and Instagram, where you can find the episode's healing guidance, quotes, tips, insights, and chances to win free stuff. To ask a question or to share comments, email me at abouthealingpodcast@gmail.com, or feel free to reach me on Facebook and Instagram at About Healing Medium. Until next time, be kind to yourself.